Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We have the Prime Minister of Hungary, Mr. Viktor Orban, making some statements that I think are valid, and I think that he's, how should I say it, he's behind of whatever already happens in Ukraine. But hey, let's see what he says. This article comes from Sputnik from today, the 18th of February 2023. Hungary's Orban says Europe may end up sending troops to Ukraine. I think that troops are already there, but they're different under different name, different classification. They are investigators. They are people who make sure that inspectors, that's how they call it actually, inspectors that will make sure that weapons that the West brings to the front are distributed to the right people. That's the inspectors. I think they sent about 1,000 at one point, so probably they're about, I don't think that that's the exact number, but anyway, that's one. And the other one, you have the military advisors that are over there on the front to just look at the Ukrainians and don't participate whatsoever. And then there are the volunteers. And the volunteers are formed in Poland or other areas, and they come in as volunteers, but in Poland they take their things off their little shoulders and they put a patch with Ukrainian volunteer and so on. These are three ways at least that could be implemented and used in Ukraine. I don't see any reason why they don't use it. I mean, history teaches us that things like this are like ABC 1, 2, 3, tomorrow is Sunday kind of thing. So Orban thinks that NATO will send it. Yes, I think NATO will send troops, that's my assessment, under a different term. They will not be called NATO troops or military. They will say love-making troops or peace-kissing troops or universal truth and love and happiness, freedom and democracy, something like euphemisms like bullshit like this. And they will send them and say, no, they will not be active in Ukraine. They will just over there and get candies and give it to kids, build buildings with the bricks, and help things like that. They will not have weapons with them, grenades and helmets and, no. And we're going to say, okay, we trust and believe you because you always tell the truth. Okay, tomorrow I have to go to work so I can pay taxes for you. Okay, bye-bye. That's how these guys are functioning. Anyway, and they know it. That's why they can afford saying these kind of things. Budapest. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban cautioned Europe on Saturday that it could sleepwalk into a direct armed confrontation with Russia by sending increasingly deadly weapons to Ukraine. In his State of the Nation address, the Hungarian leader said that Germany started off by sending helmets to Ukraine and was already mustering tank battalions and talking about fighter jets. That's exactly what I said. And that was my mountain slope model. You start with the helmets, condoms, and then you get to howizers, juveniles, and then you go to howizers, then you go to HIMARS, then you go to armored vehicles, then you go to tanks, then you go with fighter jets, then you go with the long-range missile systems, and then you go with troops on the ground, and then that's where you stop because you're not going to send, you might send submarines, and you might send ships. They already asked for that, the Ukrainians. I don't think they will be given that. They were given boats for the Dnieper River, but not like ships with things, not like that, and submarines. But that's coming, and the population said, okay, that's that. If you're familiar with that little story, or not even story, but like a frog, that you put a frog in a water, and you put it on a hot stove, and the frog doesn't know that it's going to be burning over there, it's going to be boiling soon. So he just relaxes, it's getting warm, and it's getting too warm. The muscles are like this, and when you want to go out, it can't jump off the bowl because it's going to be boiling there. So basically, this is what's going on here. Little by little, they will get you to the final thing, which is face to face. But until then, if you look back, you're like, how in the hell did I agree to get this far? Well, because it was baby steps. So let's go and see what these guys have to say here. And I'm quoting, soon we will hear about sending so-called peacekeeping troops. Oh my God, end quote. This guy is like, whatever. It's the same thing I've been saying for so many days and months. That's pretty soon. They're going to call it somehow. And I'm quoting, if you supply weapons, provide satellite data, train soldiers of one of the warring parties and have its entire government on your payroll, oh my God, while imposing sanctions on the other party, whatever you call it, but you are at war. Oh my God, Orban, you're gonna be out pretty soon. Jesus Christ. Hungary has been providing Ukrainians with humanitarian assistance since the start of the conflict last February, but has repeatedly refused to give it weapons. And I'm quoting, the Hungarian government does not share the view that Russia poses a threat, oh my God, to Hungary and the rest of Europe. Jesus Christ. When we talk about nuclear arms, the war in Ukraine has neither increased nor decreased the threat that they could be used, he argued. And again, I'm quoting, Ukrainians are trying to convince Europe that Russians will not stop until they are on the Atlantic coast, but the world can see that the Russian army is not in a position and won't be anytime soon to attack NATO, end quote, he said. The conflict in Ukraine needs to end at the negotiating table, and the longer it takes for Russians and Americans to reach a negotiated solution, the higher the price of peace will be, the Prime Minister said. So he's right here is naming the adversaries, the real war. Orban also suggested that it would be wrong for Hungary to put Ukraine's interest above those of its own people. Correct. The Ukrainians don't put their interest above of Hungarians, only with the wars that they defend somehow the Hungarians like this. You know, it's the same thing as some religious event where someone came and said that he's gonna wash everybody else's this and that. But anyway, ditching Russian oil, gas and nuclear fuel would hurt the nation's national economy. Correct. Budapest's opposition to sanctions on Russia make it stand out in Europe, he said, but the majority of countries beyond the EU share its reluctance. Well, you know that one. Telling the truth in this kind of society is a revolutionary act. You know, George Orwell in his 1984 dystopian novel, kind of like, this guy is telling the emperor has no clothes, just to mention the other guys. The brothers Grimm or Anderson, which one was it? One of those guys anyway. Good for them. So, troops will be coming, and Orban points the thing that it's the United States and Russia, not this Ukrainian Zelensky and all that. He calls Zelensky the Ukrainian government being on the payroll of the United States of America. It is because they give, just for relevance, not that it's some, I mean, we know who's who and what's what, but remember, the United States gave them money, so gave them from my taxes, by the way, my taxes, money, or from the printing machine in Washington, or from the international banking system, gave the Ukrainian government money to be able to function. So I'm paying for them, but I can't pay for a, I don't know, school teacher here. I can't pay here for better school. I can't pay here for medical stuff because my money goes over there. Is that logical? Who cares about logic? I have this, shut the hell up and get out. Basically, that's how it is. So Orban continues to say what he thinks, and he's a courageous guy. I mean, a lot of interest would like him out of the position he is in. I mean, it's not that I share a lot of his statements, but look at it. I mean, what did he say wrong about? What did he say that was inaccurate over there? Is it true that this guy started with helmets and ended up with talking about airplanes with fighter jets? Is that false? It's correct. So if you see this trend, what's the next step? I mean, you didn't see this step when you were at the helmets level. Oh, no, it's out of the question. Remember what was in March, out of the question 2022. Out of the question the United States to send any tanks. They sent 31 Abrams 1 tanks. It was out of the question then. What changed? morality, principles, values? I mean, look at this. What makes you think that right now, after you fulfilled all 10 steps, you're not gonna, or 9 steps, you're not gonna take the last one, which is not even different than the other ones. It's just everybody's. It's just I mean, the Ukrainians or whoever is over there in the front lines, they are using the weapons of these guys, which is the whole. It's a group of. This is a group. I'm going to use the term monolithic West, but it's not that monolithic because you have, for instance, Orban of Hungary. He's not part of the monolithic. He's outside of it. And many other countries are outside. But they can't say it because they're afraid. Why? Just say I disagree with that. Look what happens with Hungary. And not only Hungary, but is it correct what he said? Is it true what he said that many countries outside of this little club that is grabbed over there and held over there by United States for real? It has weapons and it has military personnel in all these countries, not all these countries, but the countries that matter. But those countries don't have troops in the United States of America. How come? I thought it was an alliance. That tells you the subordination relationship between the countries is one, and the rest are weasels, bottom feeders. That's another thing. I said many countries outside don't share this worldview or the interpretation or the facts that once the Russians are done with Ukraine, which they have never said we want to take over Ukraine. They want Ukraine neutral. No weapons, no NATO. Make sure you don't kill those Russians over there and Nazis out if they are. And we should all agree with that. No. That's a world war right now. I made a video with Sunak and Harris, Kamala Harris, two of the most intelligent people on this planet, unfortunately representing two intelligent, smart, strong countries and populations and people and citizens, however you want to call it, subjects, saying that this is a global war. Global / what's a global war? A world war? What the hell are you talking about? But they push this one with their wisdom in the mass media, and the masses, they take it, yeah man, that's it, that's true man. Well, there's other people who, are not that lazy just to turn on the CNN or whatever is over there, MSNBC or ABC or NBC or FuckBC or whatever, and get information from other sources that we are still allowed to have them still. But the trend goes like this, the way I see it. And in between 5 and 7 years, maybe things like could be considered, I don't know, crimes or something. The way it goes, and there's other people who determine that. They will determine what you are allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say, what terms you should use to address this or address that, or call tomorrow we can call this spectacles anymore. We're going to call them, I don't know, because it's spectacles reminds of an idiot of something that happened to 20 generations back to his whatever family or ancestors, or not even people related to him. It's unbelievable how far these idiots are going. And why would they dictate what words I use? The society? I'm part of the society. I'm a free person. Am I? No, you're not. You can say you are, but evidence tells something else. Just go to work and say something that it's politically incorrect. They will fire you. They will fire you right there. Is that free speech? You know what I mean? Unacceptable? Considered by whom? By some guys. They determine that. So they determine that you should not have a job. That means you should not earn your economic needs. So what is that? No economic needs. And if you want to get another job somewhere else, you're going to need references. Are you going to let them call these guys? Yeah, don't hire the idiot. He said this that I disagreed with. And if those guys are of the same mentality, afraid that they will be boycotted by the guys over there, what's going to happen if you don't find a job? And then what? You're going to be starving. Is that an economic genocide? Could be. I'm not saying it is, but how will you take it? You say the wrong thing, no food for you. No access. Tomorrow you're going to say, if you say that, you can go and buy groceries from the department stores, from the grocery stores, right? Anyway, the things are not there, but the trend, like from the helmets, condoms, howizers and all that, the trend, the same here. Just think ahead. If you say something politically incorrect, you're done. What is this? what's going on here? I mean, if you're afraid to say certain things because of retaliations, that's not freedom of speech. You have the freedom. The communists allowed in Romania, where I come from, the communists allowed. They didn't say it's illegal for you to criticize the government or the dictator or Ceausescu. It was not illegal, but you knew better to censor yourself and not saying anything wrong because you were talked to and you're gonna be done. I'm not saying killed or anything, but you got problems. But hey, freedom of speech. Yeah, go over there and say certain things that are unacceptable considered by some fringed minority that consider that, and they impose it on others. Why? Because they're noisy and some of them have the power. And how do they do it? They just say, hey, you are, they call you names. They want you to shut up. They don't debate you because that requires energy, and they don't have that kind of energy. They have this kind of energy, not that one. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.